Let me start off by saying something positive first, because I'm trying, believe me, I'm trying to see the good things in this show, difficult as it may be. I love the moment of personal struggle between Rhaenyra and her son because of her recruiting bastards as dragon riders and thus putting in peril the importance of his claim to the throne. These are the elements that make the characters feel real to me, giving them these complex personal dilemmas to resolve. A child feels betrayed by his own loving mother, asking her how she could ever do this to him, and the mother seeing her child's pain, feeling horrible for it, but then also realizing that this is the price that has to be paid in the name of victory. I love this theme of a monarch seeing the bigger picture and realizing that personal sacrifices must be made for the realm, and them asking those they hurt to try and understand why they did it. It makes me feel both of their pain, and this pain makes me resonate with the story. It is this that I seek in art. I don't care so much about your shock value or battles and whatnot. I first and foremost want to find the sincere humanity in any kind of art that I consume. And that is about the only thing that I liked in this episode. Now let me rant about the stupid stuff. So this show is now, to me, completely generic fantasy. All of the believability and sense of reality from the original Game of Thrones is gone for me. And that's why I loved Game of Thrones in the first place. And before you fanboy fuckers tell me, then go watch non-fantasy, no, that's not what I mean. I love fantasy. But just because something is fantasy doesn't mean any fucking thing in the story goes. Even fantasy, in order for it to be good fantasy, has to have a certain level of realism in it. And that doesn't mean absence of magic, it means the presence of sheer logic. If a world doesn't follow the logic of things like motives, causation, and distances, that doesn't make it fantasy, it makes it stupid. First, logistics. Like, in this episode, we get a season of America's Got Talent, only with Targaryen bastards. Like, only some of them are gonna ride the dragon, but who will it be? Watch and find out! And so they get like a whole bunch of people to travel from King's Landing, a city which, by the way, I thought was kind of closed off and barricaded, because they made all this fuss about it being blocked off by a fleet and the king not allowing people to leave for some reason. Now, it's not a problem for us at all to get like 50 bastards out of the city by boat and take them to Dragonstone in about 2 seconds. Which was, by the way, what, 300 miles away from King's Landing or something? Because in this show, it feels like King's Landing and Dragonstone are like 5 miles apart. People go back and forth in the blink of an eye, and it completely kills my sense of distance in this fucking continent. Which was the same crap that partially ruined Game of Thrones at the end. And then that idiot who smeagoled his way through a dragon lair, he flies his new dragon to King's Landing at the end, and then Aemon chases him all the way back to Dragonstone? All in like, what, 30 seconds? Again, fucking lack of logistics. And I mean chasing him is fine, but all the way there, just by yourself? Who cares if you've got the biggest dragon when they have like 5 others or something? Isn't Aemon supposed to be cunning? And you only realized that this was insane just as you approached the actual fucking castle? And you can say, yeah, fine, Aemon was too cocky, you can find the logic there. But then, he's right there on their territory, all by himself. And Rhaenyra sees him with all her newly acquired dragons, which, by the way, are suddenly all completely tamed after some unknown idiots got on their backs, as if they learned to ride bikes or whatever. Anyway, and she doesn't chase after him right away? Didn't you want to avoid shedding innocent blood? What better way to do that than just killing the one fucker you want dead right then and there, while you brutally outnumber him? Instead, she does nothing and leaves him off alive, just as Rhaenys did in the first season for some fucking reason. Then second, predictable cheese. I'm actually fine with this idea of Rhaenyra recruiting bastards. I really am. It totally sounds like something that George Martin would write, and I love the concept. But could you make it any more obvious with this fucking character? Who can tell me he wasn't being propped up from the very beginning of the season? Like, oh, the good humble guy with the good little wife and their good little sickly daughter, who are just trying to survive the entire season and did no one harm. And oh, he has white hair, which doesn't make him special at all. I had no idea he was going to become someone significant to the plot. And let me say this again. It's not like this is complete trash. If this was some other mediocre show, I wouldn't even blink. But this was supposed to be Game of Thrones. It's not supposed to be this generic and transparent. They might as well have given him a staff and called him Aragalf. I guess I was supposed to feel tension and fear for him potentially dying during this scene? Who the fuck are you kidding? This guy had more plot armor than Arya in season 8. Then number 3, stupid character development. I just can't believe how I praised Alicent's character in the previous episode, and now it was as if they heard that I liked her and they made her plot retarded. Like, if this was a character in a modern setting, getting tired of everyone's bullshit and going out into nature totally alone to try and rethink life and have some sort of an epiphany, that sounds believable. But this is not a modern setting. She's supposed to be a medieval monarch or royal or whatever. These people would never be allowed to just go off in a fucking forest, almost all by themselves, to sleep in tents and swim in lakes like she's a fucking Ophelia or something, let alone a female medieval royal. I'm not gonna go into details on that again because I've spoken about the nature of medieval royal courts in my previous rants. I'm just gonna say that in an actual medieval court, this would never fucking happen. Anyway, my disappointment keeps growing and growing. I'm out until next episode, if it's worth the commentary at all.